Okay, so the question I'm going to be considering will be surrounding climate change. But regarding that issue, there are a number of different questions. Like, first of all, whether or not climate change is real. And once we take for granted that it is real, then there are questions about whether it's our responsibility to curb it. Personally, I've never met anyone in real life who denies climate change, but I have met a number of people, all of them have been men actually, who think climate change just isn't like a pressing issue. They say, like, we're fine, what are you worried about? Like, when my brother voted for Trump and I asked him about it, he said, what do you think he's gonna do? Roll back all environmental protections? And even if he does, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna be examining testimony from two supposed climate experts. The first one, his name's Mark Morano, and the video that I found describes him as a climate expert, but when I found his Wikipedia page, he's described as a climate denier. So, my second expert is named Will Steffen, and he is an actual climate expert. He's the executive director of the Australian National University Climate Change Institute and a member of the Australian Climate Commission.
But no wonder Governor Wolf is confused, because the climate debate can be very confusing, and it's actually the climate advocates that are the ones confused. We heard all sorts of scary predictions about the future and storms that are going to happen. Well, let's take a look here at how the settled climate science is. Climate change causes less rain, according to a study in the journal Nature, but it also causes more rain but less water. Climate change causes less snow, according to an IPCC UN scientist, but it also means more snow. They changed that when we had record snow here on the East Coast. Within a couple years after 2010, that decade became the snowiest on decade, and then suddenly everyone started talking about, did we say less snow? No, climate change causes more snow. Climate change causes Antarctica to lose ice. Climate change causes Antarctica to gain ice. These are multiple studies predicting the opposite. Climate change causes duller autumn leaves. Climate change causes more colorful autumn leaves. Climate change makes for saltier seas. Climate change makes for less salty seas.
Okay, my second expert is not so good. He spends 2 minutes basically, like, I don't know where he's reading his stats from, he doesn't tell you, but he's basically, like, reading opinions from two different people who believe in climate change, but they have different opinions on what exactly climate change is doing. And he thinks this is basically proving that climate change doesn't exist at all. He seems to be confused by the fact that we're saying climate change is increasing rain in some places and also causing droughts in some places. The fact that we have hot weather caused by climate change and also cold weather. He doesn't understand, I guess, that climate change does not equate to global warming. They're two different things. He doesn't understand that what people are saying is the effects of climate change are extreme weather, not weather in one direction or the other. It is extreme weather in all directions.
One is we are changing the amount of energy at the Earth's surface, and that's causing the heat to go up. And we're doing that mainly by burning fossil fuels, burning coal, burning oil, burning gas. That's releasing a heat-trapping gas called carbon dioxide. That absorbs more heat in the atmosphere, retains it near the surface. We feel it in Canberra, in Singapore, and other places in the world. We're having more hot days, less cool days. The ocean level is rising because the oceans are warming, and we're putting more water into the oceans because ice in the poles is melting. We're seeing changes in rainfall patterns, and storms are getting worse.
Yep.
So it's not a good story. And all of these things, which do have effects on people, have effects on the environment, are definitely influenced by climate change. We need to pretty much transform the way we live, how we work, how we enjoy life, and so on. So you can break it down into the things that are the major sectors of our economy. We have to get carbon out of the energy system. We have to radically transform the food system. We have to transform the way we move ourselves around, transport. The idea there being we have to do two things. We have to get carbon out of those systems, And we have to start regenerating the biosphere, the ecosystems out there that we have cleared for palm oil, cleared for other types of agriculture and so on, because they too are contributing to climate change. If we don't get emissions down 50% by 2030, we have a very difficult time of meeting the Paris targets. And if we don't meet the Paris targets, which are a decade or so down the track, and go over 2 degrees, there is a risk that internal features of the Earth system will themselves put more carbon into the atmosphere, absorb more heat because you're uncovering dark surfaces with melting ice. And then the Earth on its own will warm to a much higher temperature.
Okay, so after listening to Will Steffen's testimony, he's very clear and concise about exactly what the problem is, what's causing it, and what we need to do about it. He explains that global warming is man-made, caused by us burning fossil fuels, and he lists the actual current effects of climate change, the rising sea levels, and the terrible heat in third world countries. He lists the current effects of climate change, like rising sea levels, flooding in coastal towns, and the oppressive heat in developing countries. Everything he says seems accurate, and I feel like he makes a really sound argument. So overall, I mean, these guys basically just reinforced what I already know about climate change, that it really is a pressing issue, and all these deniers are just idiots who don't know how to read, basically.